Bonjour from Paris. A lot of people have an idea that Paris is a super romantic city, but the thing is, unfortunately, there are a lot of not so great people here as well. They target tourists, and the way to avoid this is not what you think. But luckily, you have us. Hi, my name is Jamie. I've been living in Paris for 8 years, and exposing scams is kind of like my rite of passage as a baby Parisian. Paris is generally a safe city, but in this video, we'll be going over 8 scams that you can find in Paris and how to avoid them. Okay, on y va. Let's go. Fake taxis are a common scam in Paris that get you the second you arrive in the city. You know, the taxi drivers that will wait for you in the arrival section of the airport or at the train station, and they ask for you to get in their car. Well, guess what? When you get to your destination, they're gonna demand so much money from you, and they'll keep you in their car until you pay. Lucky for you, it's very easy to avoid the scam. You just need to find an official Paris taxi. And finding an official taxi is pretty easy. You just need to find a taxi with an official Paris taxi top, a meter, and a taxi license. You can find official taxis at official taxi stations, and you can find them on major roads, near metro stations, at the airport, and near railway stations. I've never been scammed by a taxi before, but there are a few precautions that I take to make sure I never do. 1, I order my taxis through official apps or go to official taxi stations. 2, I always keep the route open just to make sure that the driver does not deviate and try to charge me more. 3, if I'm still worried, I always ask for an estimation before getting in the car. Taxis have a fixed rate, so from Charles de Gaulle Airport, it's 56 euros to the right bank and then 65 euros to the left bank. And from Orly, it's 44 to the right bank and then 36 to the left bank. Taxis around Paris are not crazy expensive. If a taxi driver is offering you a price that you think is insane, it probably is. And 4, I ask for a receipt. You can find this scam wherever taxis are, so busy railway stations, airports, and concert venues. If you really don't want to get scammed, there's an app that I use. It's called G7. You can pre-book your taxi, order a taxi. When you order, you get the name of the driver, you get their license plate and their car, so you know for sure that you are not getting scammed. And you pay through the app. So that's like another bonus. Quick note, some taxi drivers will say that they don't accept card. This is not a scam per se, it's just pretty annoying. If you want to avoid this situation, just ask in advance if your taxi driver accepts credit cards. I don't know what it is about scammers and transportation, because here is another scam that targets people just wanting to get around. You'll see a lot of tuk-tuks and rickshaws around Paris, and besides the fact that they're scammy, they're also operating illegally. You'll find this scam around major monuments like the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower, but also near busy bridges like Pont Alexandre III. The scam works is when you go up to them and you ask for a price. First of all, they're gonna quote you a price way higher than is actually necessary for the trip that you're about to take. And second of all, they're actually lying about what this price means. What happens is when you get to your destination, you'll ask them to pay, and then they'll give you a price that's way higher than they initially quoted. That's because the price is actually per person and not for the total trip. The worst part about all of this is actually written in the smallest fine print on their price list. So yeah, you got scammed. Now I have seen some legal tuk-tuks pop up around Paris. You can order them through different apps, like for example, the Hitch app, or I just spoke to somebody who was working for the Turtle app. It's very simple. You just type in where you need to go and it gives you an estimation on the price. Here are some tips to help you spot a scam tuk-tuk or a rickshaw. Basically, by French law, it can't have the word vélo taxi written on it. If there's the word vélo taxi written on the side, that is illegal. And also, prices on the side are also illegal. So if your tuk-tuk has either of these things, it probably isn't a legit one. If you do want to take a tuk-tuk or a rickshaw, listen to loud music, have the party going when you're riding around Paris, make sure to confirm the price before per person. Have a price locked in, know that that's the amount you want to spend, and don't budge. Honestly, I recommend renting a bike. You can order an electric bike through the Uber app or the Lime app, or you can even use our city bikes, which is called the Vélib. Did you know that some restaurants in Paris try to overcharge tourists? I know. So do you see these cafes and brasseries all over Paris? Well, while some of them are a great authentic way to get a traditional Parisian experience, others will try to scam tourists. They'll try to do this in 2 ways. The first way is by giving you a special English menu, and there they give you special prices. And then the second way that they'll do this is by adding service fees or even items to your receipt that you didn't even order. But good news, this is actually pretty easy to avoid. So if you're in areas like the Arc de Triomphe or Notre Dame or the Eiffel Tower, avoid places with English on the menu. That's actually pretty easy to suss out because most of these places will actually have their menu right out front. And another thing that you need to look out for is if there's somebody trying to bring you into the restaurant, no matter how many compliments they pay you, it is never worth it to actually go inside. And when you get the bill, look for any random service charges or things that you did not order on your receipt. And another tip, if the menu is in French, you can use automatic translation services like Google Translate. You just upload a picture of the menu that you want to translate, and it will provide an automatic translation for you. Easy peasy. This is actually a super rare sighting in Paris. This place got shut down by the health inspector, which is really random because we were coming here to catch scams and we kind of found out that this is a bad street. So basically this says that it is closed for the protection of the public in Paris. So yeah, don't come down here if you want a good meal. Oh, and by the way, if it's your first time visiting Paris, I know how overwhelming it could be to know what you need to buy, book, and plan before your upcoming trip. That's why we made the Paris trip checklist. It has everything you need to buy, book, and do before your upcoming trip. And to get it for free, you just need to click the link down in the description box. Okay, back to more scams. The Clear Cup Scam. This is a scam that I've actually fallen for before. In general, you'll see people asking for money all around Paris, but what makes the Clear Cup Scam different is the fact that there is a clear cup purposely put in the middle of the street in hopes that when somebody kicks it, they'll feel guilty enough to give money. The thing is, I've also seen people get really angry and then demand more money. I find this scam all around Paris, but more specifically in the richer touristy areas like Rue Saint-Honoré or the 6th arrondissement. I don't have any great tips on how to avoid this other than the fact that you just need to be vigilant and don't get bullied into giving money. If you do want to give money to somebody, that should be up to you. When you're sitting in a park or on the Seine, sometimes you'll get people come up to you that are wearing backpacks that are trying to sell you beer, water, or champagne. Other than the fact that they're storing this in the sewer, they're operating illegally, and the champagne that they're selling is not champagne at all, it's sparkling wine. What is so scammy is the fact that they're trying to sell these drinks for insane prices and then they convince you that you can't go lower. I've personally never bought the champagne from them, but I have bought the wine, and I feel like I got a pretty good deal. That being said, when I did that, I was negotiating in French. These scammers get you late at night when stores are closed. They know what they're doing. It is very easy to avoid this scam. Just go to a shop that sells champagne before you get to the Seine or to a park. If it does become too late to go to a shop, you can just go to an épicerie. An épicerie is a little shop that's open late into the night. They have snacks, they have drinks, they have champagne, that's the important one, and they have wine. You will not find an épicerie on a map, so usually when I go to a new arrondissement or I'm exploring Paris, I make a note about where they are just in case I'm gonna need one later. Lastly, this is a rule I just wanna put out there for everybody. If somebody hands you something in Paris or asks you to sign something, don't do it. It is a scam. Here are 3 scams in Paris that do just that. The Petition Scam, one of the most common scams in Paris. What will happen is usually a group of women will come up to you with a clipboard, with a petition, and then they'll ask you to sign it. Those signatures are not going anywhere. How they scam you is while you're signing the petition, they'll ask you for money, and you guessed it, that money is not going anywhere. Another way they scam you is while you're signing the petition, one of their accomplices will come up and pickpocket you. This scam usually happens near major tourist attractions like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, but it also can happen outside of metro station exits. Lucky for you, this scam is pretty easy to avoid. If somebody comes up to you asking for you to sign a petition, you simply say, "Non, merci." That means no thank you, and move on. No need to justify why you don't want to sign this petition. They know they're scamming people, so don't worry about it. The Bracelet Scam, a scam that really annoys me because you'll be walking around a tourist area and suddenly somebody will come up to you and tie a woven bracelet around your arm. They'll tell you it's free, but then right as you walk away, they demand payment. And they have accomplices around that intimidate you to make you pay. This scam happens the most at Sacré-Cœur, but it can happen at any tourist attraction. Just like any other scam, if somebody's trying to tie something around your wrist or give something to you, just say "non merci" and walk away. They might try to be persistent, but ignore them. Let's talk about the gold ring scam. While I feel like this scam is not as common in Paris as it is in other European cities, it is something to look out for. Basically, what happens is when you're walking around tourist attractions or down by the banks of the Seine, somebody will come up to you and hand you a gold ring. They're gonna say it's either a gift or they found it and they just wanna give it to you. But here's the catch. They're gonna be asking for money in return. And just like in the bracelet scam, they have backup and there's people to kind of come, surround you and force you to give them money. So I've actually never had this scam happen to me, but it is a good scam to be aware of. It usually takes place around tourist attractions like the Eiffel Tower and especially on the banks of the Seine. Just like the other two scams, if somebody hands you something, don't accept it. It's never a gift. Don't let this video scare you. Paris is generally a safe city, minus these scams. Just remember for your trip, don't keep your personal possessions in your pocket, like me, and don't talk to strangers. Actually, do talk to the locals, just don't be talking to scammers. If you like this video and you want to discover more Love in Paris content to help you prep for your trip to Paris, click on these videos. Okay, à la prochaine.